Well, good afternoon, everyone. This has been a long time in the making, and I'm genuinely happy to welcome you all here. My name's Joe Beninati, and I thought I would start today by answering a question that at least a half a dozen of you all have asked me, which is, how did Wyld Oaks come about? And I guess being firmly now positioned in my middle ages, a lot wiser due to failure and more inspired due to successes, I get a bit sentimental about passing on oral history of how things have come about as well. And in the case of Wyld Oaks, it really began one night nearly a decade ago in Texas. And for me, it was sort of a moment in my life where a Frank Sinatra lyric of losing my timing so late in my career is pretty apt in describing things. And a girl who left me speechless when I met her in high school 40 years ago had just seen our three boys empty our nest, and we decided to pick up and move to Texas to be closer to family and start something new in a state that I had spent a bunch of summers learning to drive and becoming a Longhorn fan as a youngster. Rhonda, being the boss, suggested we give city living a try after decades of the suburbs of Connecticut. But what was unique about the building that we moved into in downtown Austin is that the demographics approximated the age of our oldest children. So not knowing anyone in the building, and much to my shy wife's chagrin, we RSVP'd yes to a building mixer. And I still remember walking into the local barbecue restaurant in what seemed like a sea of millennials, turning to look and wonder who invited their friends' parents to this party. So we spotted another couple whose only qualifications to speak to at the time is that they immediately met the minimum standards of looking like grown-ups. And like so much in life, fate is defined by key moments and decisions. Now, years later, that grown-up couple, Mike and Beth Falcone, have become our dear friends. We've shared a bunch of great times together, weddings, celebrations, ranch vacations, and the like. As our friendship grew, I shared with Mike that I was starting a business here in Orlando in June of 2018. I even told Mike about this great young man that I had met who on day one drove me to what he thought was the best location in all of greater Orlando, Apopka. That young man is Justin Ruby of Foundry Commercial, a devout Gator fan and Floridian, but we immediately took a liking to one another as he had lived in El Paso for 10 years. So a couple of years later, I'm at dinner again with Mike in September of 2020, and he asked me if I could help his buddy of 20 years. The man was Charlie Pinckney, a Citadel graduate and longtime Florida resident. It seemed that Charlie and a few other good families had become embroiled in a disagreement, and instead of the waters calming between what I now know to be all nice folks, the dispute turned rockier, a decade-long legal battle, and worse yet, the case spilled into bankruptcy court. Relations, it seemed, were frozen, and nobody talked to anyone. Mike, knowing I liked large, complex opportunities and had experience in these sorts of cases, thought I would be able to help his friend Charlie. After months of studying and several appearances before the judge and shuttling among what were then the combatants, we came up with a peace plan. And on my birthday in February of 2023, the federal judge dropped her gavel and officially gave us control of what would become Wyld Oaks. Essentially, Judge Lori Vaughn agreed that in return for our investment into Wyld Oaks, all of the parties would agree to a compromise that we structured. She named the peace plan the Global Settlement, and Wyld Oaks was born. The settlement could not have happened without people like Charlie Pinckney, Matt Hill, the Rizzer family, and Jim Palmer opening their hearts and trusting me to do the right thing. They took a risk that I was sincere, and they now know that all of us who are part of this Wyld Oaks family here today were the big winners as a result of their trust. There is, however, a somber note to the story. My dear friend Charlie Pinckney was taken to heaven this last summer, and I pray that he now looks proudly on how we conduct ourselves at Wyld Oaks with integrity and attention to detail and transparency. So with the history question answered, and before we get to describing the master plan of Wyld Oaks, I would like to take a moment of time to heap enormous thanks on so many people who have gotten us to this point today. I'll begin with the Office of Congressman Daniel Webster, Pam Jones, thank you. From the Office of Florida Representative Doug Bankson, Madison Wagner. And from the city of Apopka, of course, Mayor Nelson, a public servant with an enduring love and vision for his city, Commissioner Kyle Becker, Commissioner Nick Nesta, Commissioner Alexander Smith, and Commissioner Diane Velasquez, with whom I enjoy sharing old neighborhood stories. I want to pause here for one moment for an extra special thanks to the Apopka City Council. In an age of hyperpartisanship that we all live in, I want to shout out how the City Council of Apopka has come together for Wyld Oaks. And by coming together, what I mean is the council, for whatever their differences, has blessed Wyld Oaks with a run of perfect 5-0 unanimous votes. It's just so refreshing to see people work together as one team to make Wyld Oaks an amazing place where people will want to live, and businesses, small and large, will want to invest their time and their money to employ, to create jobs, and to make a profit. So you have my sincere thanks, Council. I will continue to run this project with integrity and a high ethical standard, and I look forward to years of working together. Thank you. Now from Orange County, Mayor Jerry Demings, welcome. District 4 Commissioner Christine Moore, representing District 7 School Board Member Melissa Bird. We could just not have arrived at this moment without your help, as well as so many members of the city staff and members of my team. And I know it's a long list of thank yous, but just indulge me because there's been years of work that have come to this moment. I have to start with city staff, Pam Richmond, Jim Hitt, Jacob Schumer, Jean, thank you so much for all that you've done to help us. Colliers, my dear friend, Brett Felberg, who I also met in that first trip, June of 2018. My trusted advisor, Jeff Morris, and his partners, David Gabai, Alexi Fonseca, and Jeff Johnson. The folks at CBRE who are helping us on the office side. The architectural firm, LRK. Your accomplishments, if I were to call them out, would take 2 hours, but you inspired me by showing what you've done at Rosemary Beach in Florida, in Nashville, Tennessee, and in Fort Worth, and now we're asking you all to do it here at Wyld Oaks. Lowndes, oh my God, your whole team. But Tara, the fact that you've done what everyone thought to be impossible, all while taking at least a good 7 or 8 hours out to have a baby in the middle of all of it, truly, truly memorable. Kimberly Horn, Mellaby, Kevin, Ed, the folks at Kutak Rock, Maxis Advisors, New Broad Street Consulting, and David Pace. Prismatic, this is in alphabetical order, but wow. Your work today and the creation of this program has just been amazing. Tim from Providence Construction, RCS, we know you all cannot wait to get digging until these turtles are safely moved. Rosway Swan, a Florida law firm in Vero Beach, managed by a man who happened to be my college roommate, my college football teammate in our wedding party, and responsible for introducing me to my immensely modest partners and now dear friends in Vero Beach. Thrive More Advisors and our friends from SBA. Post Road Group, a private credit lender that counts Wyld Oaks as its most successful loan they've ever made because we paid them off so fast. Adam Hakim, James Murad, Jeff Hellman, attorney at law, Robert Gibbs, our retail planner, who also has as his design accomplishment Seaside and Alice Beach up in the Panhandle. Madison Communities and my friend Matt Wilcox, who will build our first 325 residents, and of course my neighbor and friend Todd Watson of Cadence Partners and Clarion in Dallas. It's no surprise that last year Todd was named the Developer of the Year, as his vision and commitment to Apopka will echo into the next decades. So I apologize for that long list of thank yous, but it's from the heart, and I just had to take a moment to express it to all of y'all. So with that, I'm going to introduce our first speaker, Mayor Nelson.
Thank you. Boy, I tell you, you can just, when you listen to Joe, you can see how not only is he a humble man, but that he takes this project to heart, and that you look around, you know, I've been here hundreds of times with the risters, you know, watching the cows and the horses, and, you know, you say, gosh, you hate to lose that. But I can tell you, sitting here today, if there's one project I would want to take on this farmland, it's Joe and his team and what they're going to transform this whole area into. So couldn't be more proud of the team. I mean, we got lucky, got a great team that's going to be a part of this Kelly Park interchange, and so excited for what the next 10 or 15, 20 years brings to Apopka. It looks like the dollars we're talking about could be between $2 and $3 billion of investment here in the Kelly Park interchange. So an amazing amount of money, talents, and you know, opportunities for home ownership, for commercial, office, and so we're so excited, industrial. So we're so excited to be here today. Just a little background. I don't know whether Michelle is going to do the background on, maybe let her do the background on our roadway. But I have to say a little bit. I was on the county commissioner and also served in the state legislature. And one of the bills that I was able to be a partner in was trying to make sure that this road got completed. And so as in Tallahassee, we combined the Orange County and with other counties to make it a more regional CFX. And with that, it's led to this, that we've got now this one interchange. And I've always said, you don't have to be smart if you got great, you know, road infrastructure. And so a lot of this project, with the help of CFX, has made this possible. Wyld Oaks will support a tremendous growth here in Apopka, 215 acres of residential, commercial, and recreational, including up to 200,000 square feet of retail and out parcels, 2 hotels, 3,000 to 4,000 multifamily and condominium residents. The first will be 325 units. It's designed here today, groundbreaking, and we have an expansive, as you came in the parkway, you can see the big oaks on the left side as you came in. That's going to be an amazing park that we'll all be proud of. You know, massive oak trees that will, you know, you'll be there for another 100 years. We've got a 10-acre park preserve, an extensive multi-use trail network, road improvements that will provide easier access to the 429 for those living and working here at Wyld Oaks. The future of Apopka is bright and brighter because of Joe Beninati and the team here at Wyld Oaks. So thank you, Joe. Thanks for what you're doing for us here in Apopka.
Good afternoon, all of you. Honored to be here. And you gotta love Joe Beninati because he's a cool guy. This guy got on ostrich boots and everything. I say that glad to be here. I get the opportunity to do many of these types of groundbreakings throughout the county, and we're always excited about doing them, and couldn't happen without people with vision. And Joe has demonstrated that he has vision today because we're all here under this air-conditioned tent with some rainy weather coming about. So when I pulled up, I said, thank you, you know, because I've done some of these and it was pouring down rain, there was mud, there was dirt and everything out there. So I felt pretty good coming in today because that just means that we have a great project that's underway here. The state of Florida is growing so tremendously, leading the nation. First time since 1957 that the state of Florida is the fastest growing state in the union. When we talk about Orange County, the county is growing very quickly as well. with a net of nearly 1,000 new people moving in here every week. The state has 800 to 900 new people moving into our state every day. And so when you think about that, that's going to put tremendous pressure on our infrastructure. It means that we need more homes to put people in. My staff told me that in terms of the comprehensive plans and the master plans for this area around where we are located now, there's some 12,000 homes that are planned for construction in the very near future. And if you think about that, if 2 or 3 people live in each one of those homes, what kind of population impact that is going to have? Here we are in the city of Apopka. I have the opportunity to work with Mayor Nelson and the entire city council to make our home a better place for all of us. And Apopka is growing. Second largest city within Orange County. By distance, Ocoee is kind of chipping at your heels here. But this is my home, and I've had the opportunity to be raised in this community. In 1939, when my father left Alabama and moved to Florida, he came to Apopka. And my siblings and I, dad got married, we were born in Orlando and raised in Orlando. So my wife and I have 3 sons, a set of twins, 1 twin, and the youngest son have chosen to live in Apopka. And both of them are Orange County firefighters. And my grandchildren, talk about this because some of my grandchildren live in Apopka. So we're invested is what I'm saying to you. Thank you, Joe, for what you're doing with this project. It will hopefully improve the available homes, quality homes in this community. The other thing that is really neat about what you're doing, it's going to have a positive impact on our tax rolls. So even though many of these residents will live in the city of Apopka, they will pay Orange County taxes. And as an Orange County mayor, I'm elated. I get to do double duty sometimes. I chair the Central Florida Expressway Authority today. I'll be passing that torch soon, but you're going to hear from the CEO in just a moment. And what I know from that role is that our infrastructure, our roads are getting more and more congested. Without the expansion of roadways within our communities, that traffic congestion is just going to get worse. So we do have to look at a multimodal solution to be able to efficiently move people around. We have to look at long-term at our comprehensive plans to make sure that we are planning for sustainability for the next generations and the generations thereafter. I want to be part of the innovation, the collaboration, and the inclusion as a community, working with all of our elected officials, our developers, and all of you to make our community a better place. Thank you all so much. Thank you for inviting me.
Good afternoon. I just met Joe today, and his wife, and I was sharing that what an amazing opportunity this is, and we're really excited to be here. And I thank you so much for asking me to participate in this amazing event that you have here today. As a transportation agency, we spend years in conversations and planning exercises for solutions that connect our communities for economic opportunities. It takes partnerships and visions to see all of these plans through. I can remember, I've been in transportation a long time and in Central Florida for more than 20 years, but I can remember sitting in meetings with the former mayor of Apopka, John Land, and where he would talk about the history of Apopka, and he would talk about planning for the future of this amazing community. The Central Florida Beltway has taken decades to develop. I don't know if you all know this, but back in the early 60s, Walt Disney himself did a presentation as he was moving here to this community to plan for Walt Disney World, and he talked about a beltway around Orlando. And I can say that the State Road 429, the Wekiva Parkway, is an award-winning project that both the CFX and Florida's Department of Transportation is proud that we were able to deliver for this community. There were numerous conversations working with the environmental communities, the transportation communities, the planning communities, the legislature, all kinds of committees that came out of government to help us plan and develop this project that considered both the transportation needs and our environment. We know that transportation connectivity helps support growth and drives economic prosperity. The Beltway footprint that was carefully planned for our region and through Apopka allows for managed growth and projects such as Wyld Oaks. The community will benefit from the strategic planning that includes the housing, the jobs, the recreational spaces, as well as the transportation connectivity. Wyld Oaks, I would say, embodies the plans and the smart growth that we were hoping for that was connected to the Wekiva Parkway. This development honors, I believe, the uniqueness and the priority items that we had and that are important for this community and for our region. So congratulations to Wyld Oaks and to the city of Apopka. Mayor Nelson.
Thank you so much for having me here today. This is truly, truly an exciting day. It's great when we can break ground on the Orlando region's newest, what will be a very vibrant mixed-use destination. So congratulations to Wyld Oaks, the entire team, for reaching this incredible milestone. We gather not just to break ground today. We're starting a new chapter in the story of our beloved Orlando region, and I love a good story, and I know all of you do too. Through my role at the partnership, I've had the privilege of witnessing countless projects come to fruition. Each one is different, and each one brings exciting new opportunities and possibilities. As we all know, there's a housing shortage, and this is not just an Orlando region problem. This is something that we see across the United States. And this development isn't just about addressing our housing needs and creating a new sense of place in Northwest Orlando. It's about injecting vibrancy into a growing community and fostering connections, creating a space where the future takes shape. Again, bringing new and exciting possibilities. Now, Orlando's a place people want to come to. You heard Mayor Demings talk about that. It's not just because of our amazing theme parks and our natural beauty, but although we do enjoy all of that as well. But I want to share with you some statistics, and Mayor Demings touched on some of these, but I want you to remember them because I want you to share that with whoever you come in contact with. There are 1,000 people that move to the Orlando region every single week, and that is not just a recent stat. That has been going on for the last 60 years. We have more than 500,000 college students within 100 miles of downtown Orlando, so think about the talent pipeline that is coming through our community. And we're consistently ranked as a top large metro in the nation to start a business. And those are facts that truly make Orlando unbelievably real. So please share them with everyone that you know. They mean that we have an economy that continues to grow, and part of our role as the Orlando Economic Partnership is to work toward building prosperity, not just for some, but for all to enjoy. Our goal is to create a region bound only by our imaginations, and this new Wyld Oaks development is an example of how in Orlando, anything is possible if you can imagine it. And I have also had to retrain my brain on how you spell the word wild. Wyld Oaks represents more than a win for Northwest Orlando. It is a project that brings much-needed jobs to our region, not just during construction, but for years to come. And we like to say in economic development that it is a team sport, and it truly is. So I want to acknowledge Casey Evans, who's here from our organization, who worked on this project. She's our Senior Director of Economic Development. Certainly Duke Energy, Mayor Nelson, the City of Apopka, and Maxis Advisors, all who had a role in partnering with us and the rest of this project. So this will attract new businesses, expand our tax base, which I know makes Mayor Demings very happy, and inject energy into a growing and thriving pocket of the Central Florida economy and certainly Orange County. It's a win for every single one of us who lives, works, learns, and plays in our region. But the true magic of this development lies in its ability to bring people together. Imagine a place where residents, entrepreneurs, artists, families can all thrive in a cohesive and future-oriented community. A place with bustling shops and cafes, serene green spaces, and opportunities for connection around every corner. This development isn't just about buildings, it's about building a community. So when we swing those shovels in a little bit, let us remember that we're not merely breaking ground, we are paving the way for a brighter future, and that truly is unbelievably real. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. So it is so wonderful to be in a collaboration of this size and of this magnitude in something that is going to be a connection for those who are coming out to enjoy our Northwest Rec Center, our amphitheater that is bustling and booked almost every single weekend. And now we'll have hotels and locations where people can live, work, and play. And that is what we are all about. All of the support and live, work, play, Apopka. Thank you.
So now we're back to the part where we can speak about the project itself. And I actually spent a bunch of time with our planners and architects trying to put in context the overall site plan, which here approximates over 300 acres, because this portion will be the Cadence 1.5 million square foot industrial development and Todd Watson's creation. But I think we all see these sorts of plans often in the newspapers and online, and they don't mean very much to me because they're never really in context. So what I wanted to do in the next few slides is to advance and overview some of the neighborhoods that are familiar to many of us in the region. This first is Baldwin Park and New Broad Street. The next slide is Celebration. And then the last is Winter Park. So what I've done here is I took the size, and this is all drawn to scale, of Winter Park, Celebration, and Baldwin Park, and each of those projects fit just inside of our town center. So it doesn't include the industrial, it won't include the additional residential that will exist here, and it won't include the additional residential and commercial out on Kelly Park Road that will exist here. So when I hear the Economic Development Office talking about these amazing sale points, I get really excited. I'm sure I'm going to bother you a lot with text messages trying to make the same sales points. And what I did today is to try and take a list of what I think are the sales points, because we are all responsible if this is going to be a success at dinners and functions and various conversations, really describing why come to Apopka. And I think it really starts with why Florida. It really has, to quote the great philosopher of Yogi Berra, nobody goes there any longer because it's too crowded. And it's, since 2010, grown from 16 million folks to 23 million folks. And as Mayor Demings said, it was the fastest grower in the United States of America. And why is that growth important? We all love this pastoral open space, and it just connects with everyone. But I've put in context that in 1980, Flint, Michigan had the highest median income of any city in the United States of America. And since then, it's lost 50% of its population. And as a result of not having growth, a lot of bad things have happened there. The opposite seems to be happening here in Florida. And a lot of it has to do with all of us contributing to the economy. We live in a world where a lot of debt clocks are going forward. We see our federal debt clock going forward. We've all sort of seen that since we were kids. Many states and other cities in Florida, the debt clock has gone back by 25% in the last several years. So that's just a function of all of us participating in this great economy. The dream, the miracle of Orlando, I know its economy has become incredibly diversified. However, we can't talk about it without referencing the mouse. So I went back and I looked at a recent SEC filing, and it turns out that in September of 23, Disney reported they were investing $60 billion in the expansion of parks, experiences, and cruises, much of which will impact Florida. And then the filing went on to say something even more interesting, that they own 1,000 acres of land in Orange County, and that the company said it is, quote, the equivalent of about 7 new Disneyland parks that we can develop. So there is a lot of runway ahead of this area in terms of growth. The school systems in Florida. Maybe over the last 20 years, they've been a bit challenged, but U.S. News and World Report recently announced that it's the #1 school district in the United States of America. And a lot of this growth has not come to Northwest Orlando, in large part because of the limitations on the infrastructure. And now with the new Beltway and interchange, that's all solved. There's also some additional infrastructure that's going to be built that I wanted to explain today. West Kelly Park Road is going to expand to 4 acres. Golden Gem is going to be modernized. Effie Road to the north is also going to be modernized. And Sadler Road, which sits mostly inside of Wyld Oaks, is going to be expanded and travel underneath the 429 and terminate at Plymouth Sorrento Road. So if we're all coming back here in 5 years, the infrastructure that's going to be around Wyld Oaks is going to be at least tied for the best infrastructure surrounding any mixed-use community in the USA. So those are additional sales points that I hope that you all do keep in mind for speaking to folks and encouraging them as to why maybe take a shot and move from South Florida where things have gotten a little bit more expensive, or from Wisconsin where it's a little bit cold, or from Kansas City where they're playing football in negative 30 degrees. Those are things that we don't have to deal with here in Florida. So I thought if we could, before we go out to the groundbreaking, we've spoken about economic activity, we've spoken about taxes to Orange County, taxes generated to the city of Apopka, we've talked about jobs, residents, et cetera, but we all do want to be part of great parks and great open space. And what we've done is we've named ours the Yonder, and Prismatics prepared a short video that I think will, even though it's raining and it's a little bit dangerous to walk there today, will give everyone a sense as to the special place that's ultimately going to be built out and available to everyone in Orange County, the region, and the city of Apopka.
We always like to be in right at the beginning of the project because we're establishing where the roads go, where the different land uses go, and then in this case, we're talking about preserving a large grove of oak trees. So this grove of heritage oaks is going to be a place where our community can come together and have boardwalks and pathways and pavilions to be able to gather and enjoy nature as kind of a focal point to the community.
Typically, I am called on the site after the work has begun, and this limits our ability to preserve trees properly. So here I am on this site looking at these beautiful, southern live oaks, and we're able to give them direction and give them all the things that they need to do properly before they've even started. And through that process, we try to do the least amount of impact with the trees, but also highlight the trees and preserve them in place. People spend years trying to get a mature canopy. At Wyld Oaks, they have it. It's already here. We just have to preserve it.
So the park at Wyld Oaks is going to be amazing. It's going to be a place for people that live here and work here, and also an asset to the community of Apopka.
It's very nice. So to commemorate the Yonder, the team has invited all of you to stop at the table in the front of the tent before you leave today to ensure that you sign your name, because we're going to create a plaque for all of those who visited today at the groundbreaking, and that plaque will remain forever as a historic mark of this groundbreaking day.